In the quiet dignity of Balmoral Castle's drawing rooms, far from the world's eyes, an extraordinary reckoning took place. Princess and the royal family's most steadfast figure stood before King Charles and Queen Camilla and spoke words that would reverberate through the annals of the monarchy. "I can no longer remain silent." What followed was not mere sibling disagreement, but an unmasking of long-buried secrets, pacts made in shadows, archives rewritten, and a dying queen's private wishes laid bare. Today, you'll hear the full story of that fateful confrontation, the truth unrevealed, and the emotional toll it took on Camilla, the woman caught at the center of the storm. For decades, Balmoral stood as the Queen's sanctuary, the retreat where family tensions melted away beneath crisp Scottish winds. In late August 2023, the royal household gathered there for what was meant to be a peaceful summer reunion. Accompanied by senior courtiers and aides, the king and queen consort arrived alongside Princess Anne and her husband, Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence. The public was told simply that this was part of the annual royal schedule. But insiders recall an undercurrent of unease. Staff whispered of agenda-packed meetings, closed-door discussions, and an atmosphere palpably different from previous summers. And, renowned for her no-nonsense approach, had grown increasingly concerned about the direction the monarchy was taking. Over the previous year, she had watched titles awarded through backroom negotiations rather than lineage, seen allies of Camilla quietly ascend to key palace positions, and learned of Queen Elizabeth's private misgivings, confessions meant to stay within the family. As one close aide later told The Times, and felt she was witnessing the crown being reshaped into something she neither recognized nor accepted. On the afternoon of August 29th, the household convened in the grand drawing room. Portraits of past monarchs gazed down as Anne rose from her seat. With measured calm, she addressed Charles. "Brother, we've reached a crossroads. The monarchy you inherited is not the one you're leading. I have tolerated enough." Her voice, though soft, carried the weight of years. The disciplined daughter who had grown up alongside her mother's reign, the princess who had mastered polo sticks and protocol with equal prowess, now venting frustrations long kept behind polite smiles. She laid out her accusations that Camilla's ascent to queen consort had been secured through an informal agreement, an unspoken pact in which titles were stripped from Prince Andrew and promises of future elevation were granted to Camilla in return, that the royal archives had been tampered with to conceal letters revealing Princess Diana's distrust of certain courtiers, and that efforts to bestow noble titles upon Camilla's children from her first marriage violated centuries of tradition. "You traded crisis for compromise," Anne said, pointing at both Charles and Camilla. "You have turned loyalty into leverage." Charles sat motionless, while Camilla's composed mask began to crack. Those present later described her reaction as a force of restrained emotion. First, a fleeting look of disbelief, then a tightening around her mouth. Finally, tears she could not completely hide. It was as if she realized the very foundations of her role were being questioned, one aide recounted. She wept not out of self-pity, but at the thought of the Queen's own doubts being dredged into the open. And then spoke of her mother's final months. She revealed that Queen Elizabeth II, in private conversation, had admitted she never fully trusted the arrangement that made Camilla queen consort. According to and the late monarch confided that Kate Middleton, Catherine, Princess of Wales, embodied the future of the crown, a fact Elizabeth had expressed multiple times but felt forced by statecraft to conceal. "My mother called it a compromise made under pressure, political, familial, public," and said, her words echoing off the oak-paneled walls. She did not want it, yet she accepted it for the sake of unity. This admission shattered the silence around the Queen's dying wish. Balmoral, for Elizabeth, had been more than a scenic retreat. It was where she had said goodbye. In those final days, she feared her passing there might overburden her staff and family, a concern and in others had reassured her was unimportant. But it was the deeper wish that Catherine, not Camilla, should stand at the monarchy's forefront, that and now revealed as Elizabeth's true parting hope. The included aides later confirmed the account in pieces to Vanity Fair and The Telegraph. They described how the queen had quietly confided in and about her reservations, how she had grimaced at the necessity of bestowing the title of queen upon Camilla, and how she had clasped Anne's hand in sorrow over a choice made for appearances, not trust. It was a mother's lament, one former royal secretary told the Telegraph. It broke Anne's heart, and now she's sharing it with the world. Camilla's tears were not the end. The confrontation at Balmoral set off a chain reaction. Proposals to grant titles to Camilla's children were retracted. Senior courtiers with questionable loyalties found their appointments quietly withdrawn, and the royal archives underwent a review led by archivists independent of royal household control. Though no official statement was ever released, palace insiders confirmed the changes in interviews with The Guardian and the BBC. Every palace has its intrigues, a veteran royal correspondent said. But this was a purging of power plays, a reminder that tradition still holds weight. In the weeks that followed, Camilla emerged to fulfill her public duties with dignified composure. Yet those close to her note a change. She speaks less of protocol, more of service. She listens more than instructs. Some saw her grief-steeped reaction at the cenotaph ceremony as a sign of genuine remorse, an acknowledgement that the crown she now wears is stained by unacknowledged doubts. Meanwhile, Princess Anne returned to her own engagements with renewed vigor. At the London Horse Show, one of her favorite charities, she spoke of continuity and duty, her remarks carrying an unspoken undercurrent. Tradition must guide the future. Journalists noted a sharpness in her tone, a determination that seemed born of the Balmoral showdown. She is sending a clear message, one chronicler observed. The monarchy's heart must still beat with the values Elizabeth embodied. Across the pond, in Ireland, U.S. outlets picked up the story with fascination. The New York Times published an analysis of the underlying tensions. The Washington Post ran an op-ed on the political nature of royal compromise, and People magazine explored Camilla's human side, her tears, her sense of betrayal, her struggle to reconcile private wishes with public role. Each account drew from unnamed palace sources who confirmed Anne's version, painting a picture of a monarchy at an inflection point. Back in London, social media buzzed. Royal Facebook groups debated whether Camilla's position was now untenable, while Twitter polls favored Catherine as the future face of the monarchy. Memes contrasted Anne's unwavering loyalty to Camilla's reshaped image. Longtime royal watchers said this was more than tabloid fodder. It was a renaissance of public engagement with palace affairs, a reminder that the crown's legitimacy comes from both history and the hearts of its people. As autumn deepened, the ripple effects continued. Plans for a grand investiture ceremony were scaled back. The king's speeches shifted to emphasize unity over splendor, and a new royal charter review was quietly announced, aimed at codifying the unwritten rules and had fought to protect. Though no official link was ever made to the Balmoral confrontation, insiders say Anne's remarks were the catalyst. Today, Queen Camilla stands at a crossroads. She remains queen consort by law and by front-page photographs, yet her authority carries a new caveat. It must be earned daily, not assumed by agreements of old. Princess Anne, for her part, remains the monarchy's unyielding guardian, ever watchful, ever ready to speak up. And as the institution moves forward, the question hangs, will the crown honor the traditions Elizabeth II revered, or will political compromise continue to erode the legacy of service? What we witnessed at Balmoral was more than a family quarrel. It was a reckoning between duty and ambition, between silent loyalty and spoken truth. It was a daughter fulfilling her mother's final wish to preserve the soul of the monarchy. And it was a moment that reminded all who wear, or one day will wear, that crown that its power lies not in pacts made in secret, but in the trust and faith of those it serves. If you found this journey into the palace's hidden chambers illuminating, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Tell us, do you believe Camilla can restore the public's trust? And will Anne stand echo through history as the moment tradition reclaimed its throne? Until next time, I'm /your name, and this has been an inside look at the royal family's most guarded confrontation, one that may well define the crown's future for generations to come. What began as a quiet summer retreat at Balmoral ignited a revelation that still echoes through the palace walls. Princess Anne spoke truths once sealed in privacy, and Queen Camilla felt their weight in her tears. Now, the future of the crown balances between legacy and leverage, between unspoken loyalty and the courage to speak out. If you've been part of this journey behind the scenes, hit like, subscribe, and join our royal community in the comments, because this story is far from over. Which secret will surface next?